we have someone that is really dedicated and someone I really, really wanted to have. JP, I already watched and listened to his presentation, and his presentation is mind-blowing. So he is literally bringing the future in action today. So all we have heard about the big quantum design scenario, all Shambi's predictions and forecasting and opportunities, all that it's coming to life with JP. And JP is not just a brilliant design operations, a dedicated professional that is with us at 2 a.m. In his morning. He is incredibly talented and creative. I mean, apart from having 6 kids, that these days it's awesome. I mean, he probably would have been a great musician if he wasn't a designer or a chef. And he used to just play and improvise on the piano when he was younger in public spaces. And he even wrote the wedding music theme for his bridal walk. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, I'm constantly in awe with you, JP. So now I want everyone to see how amazing you are. The floor is yours. No pressure.
Yeah, okay, cool. I hope everyone can hear me. So, well, good morning, good afternoon, and I don't know if there's going to be good evening, but I'm JP Gusman coming from the Philippines, and it's now 2:23 a.m. in the morning. So let's get started. Uh, let's start by, I want you to look at the following questions. I know a lot of these, if not all, are oddly familiar. And my question here is, how confident are you in answering them? And I guess everyone expects that everyone here should know how to answer this, right? Well, is your favorite answer, it depends? I know that there's this inevitable feeling, that anxiety that creeps in when you're stuck answering this, seemingly trivial questions like, where do you even begin? Because these kinds of questions demand certainty about things that are uncertain and oftentimes volatile or worse, unknown. For almost 2 decades, I've been wrestling and searching for ways to reliably answer them. I tell you, I've tried a lot of things and ventured out beyond what a typical designer do. This obsession led me to dabble into statistics, data analytics, build regression models, and look for ways to make sense of these madness. And over the years, there are times that it works, but oftentimes it fell short, always incomplete, or not as reliable as I hoped to be. Something was missing. But before I moved on, let me introduce myself. I'm JP Guzman. I'm the founder and chief creative of Frost Design, and I've been a designer for almost 20 years. I'm fortunate that my work is used by and recognized by millions of Filipinos. I don't dwell too much on my work experience this time, but let me share to you something more personal. You see, I came from a country where being a designer is relatively new. It's not as prestigious like being a lawyer, doctor, accountant, or engineer. I hail from a middle class family, and while growing up, even my parents doubted if I could succeed in what I do. And being the eldest of five, they thought I might as just well work in the family business. You see, it's convenient, sure, but not exactly exciting. Well, being stubborn, I found my own company, well, a design company, no less. Frost Design is a Filipino-led UI design company. We've been in the industry for more than a decade already, and I run it together with my wife, the CEO, and actually the real boss, and another close friend back in college. And we work with major digital transformation for large enterprise clients across the country. We led the UI redesign of the number one fintech app in the country with a user base of 90 million users. We help them achieve a 90% NPS score, with one key factor being the app's ease of use. Being at the height of the global pandemic, we became the pioneering team behind the major digital transformation overhaul and transformation of one of the top telco in the country. As great as that is, being in a developing country, design and creative work aren't valued, and they're treated more like an expense item, or worse, nice to have. So, as an organization, we are in a mission to raise the overall value of design in our country. And that pursuit led me to accelerate the growth of our design team. I started out with just three junior designers during the early years of the global pandemic and steadily grown year after year. Currently, as of today, I have 22 designers, 80 additional three from the time I given this talk originally, and they're split into three groups: design, arts, and motion. Now, what's interesting about this is that after going remote, we figured out how to make it work and never went back to the office. Doing full remote allowed us to hire talents all over the country. In fact, a lot of this talk, part of this talk contains some of the approach we've learned along the way. And for the last 4 years, our team has designed and delivered this much volume of screen where, 60 to 70% of them are all ground up redesigns with no design system support. You might be asking, why this much? Well, the hard truth would no one will pay us if we don't and if we can't. Okay, I know what you're thinking. More doesn't always mean better, right? Sure, I get it. However, in our context, delivering this much is the only way we can raise value. Now, how we're able to do this much efficiently is a topic of a different day. Now, in a country where cost savings is a key driver, it's imperative to do all to command a premium. Any less, they're not willing to pay. Don't be fooled by the 10,000 screens I've shown you earlier. For you to thrive, in our context, you need to tick all the box to play. So for us, our company, it's an all or nothing game. To be competitive, we need to learn how to deliver at scale. So everything that we do is optimized for delivery. We always find ways to achieve the same result with less amount of effort. And this challenge led us through a lot of breakthrough. But how about quality and speed? I'm very much inspired by, Michelin star restaurants, how they're able to consistently deliver highly creative and technically demanding and even complex dish every single time. I'm drawn to the balance of craft, discipline, precision, and care they put into the work. And just like those star-studded restaurants, I want to emphasize the importance of discipline, practice, and routine in everything that we do. We instill these values from day one and reinforce them daily. Speed comes from practicing the craft the right way, enhanced by tools, and sprinkled with some automations along the way. So let's go back to these questions. Like I said, I've tried a lot of things, and this path has been filled with share of disappointments. Well, until now. But how we did it, I want to show you the results. Let's focus on three key items. Number one is to deliver the work as promised. Number two is to ensure that the service that we do make a lot of business sense. And finally, to genuinely care for the people doing the work. Currently, we can forecast delivery dates despite the shifting and volatile project conditions with 95% certainty, factoring the team's performance, past and present. We're able to identify bottlenecks even before they become bigger issues and address them. And finally, we're able to understand the nuance of the person's work performance. Let's talk about impact. Currently, we enjoy a 90% average client satisfaction and trust ratings. And this survey is conducted monthly. And we have an average working relationship with our clients for 5 to 6 years and would generate a lifetime value of 1.8 million US dollars. You have to put this in context that UI design company in the Philippines, that's a big deal. For our bottom line, simple. We've been net positive for the last 7 years. How about organizational impact? We're enjoying an 85% team engagement and satisfaction score from our quarterly Gallup survey with an average tenure of 3 to 5 years with low annual attrition rate. This year alone, we only lost one. And we're honored to be certified with Great Place to Work for 2024. Here's the point. Well-operated, highly disciplined team is good for business. period. Now let's go to the most exciting part. How did we get here? As an organization that's predominantly designers, the only way our design team, operates tilts the balance of our design organization. Thus, design ops was critical to a lot of these results. Currently, our design ops practice now grew from a design ops of one to now three. And these three rows that you see plays an intricate dance that's essential in how we deliver and enable work at scale. And in our context, design ops manages the work items and organize our pipeline. Our design leads focuses on the team and the quality and the flow of work. And finally, our PMs, project managers, manages the commitment to our client. I have one simple mandate. Being a designer, it's imperative that we give designers more design time. And it's our job in design ops to remove any distractions out of the way. So, how do we manage work? Well, simple. We literally want to see where the work is and measure how well the work is done. Now, to do this, we turn our eyes to Kanban. Kanban best suits our delivery methodology that works well in our current context, and we moved away from your typical 2 week sprint cycle to a more, fluid and continuous delivery. When you talk about Kanban, you definitely have to deal with cards. And to support and visualize this entire design operation, we deal with a lot of cards and move across multiple lanes. Now, to give you an idea how big, we funnel this much card across this much lanes, and to create new cards, all the necessary information and everything would take an average of, well, 2 minutes to finish. I know it sounds short, but it's a logistical nightmare waiting to happen. Just to file 3,000 cards alone would take a non-stop 12 to 13 days of 8 hours work shift. Non-stop. That's excessive, don't you think? Well, for me, it's unacceptable. If we're going to be successful in doing this, we got to find something sustainable and easy. So here's the rub. Tracking and capturing work can't be a whole new work in itself. People will naturally abandon complicated process. We want to make it feel natural and doesn't take so much time yet delivers the same result. Well, I found the solution in the oddest of place. The Figma comment box. I call this Figma comment supercharge. So what it is, we customize Figma to recognize specific commands that whenever we type something in the comment box, something happen. It's harder to explain, so let me give you a real life demo. So here, if I need to track the item here, all I need to do is to put a comment, say track, finalize the design of the screen, and then I press enter. Now, as you can see, the system at the back will do something while it's processed. Something will happen there. Give me a sec. There you go. See, what happened here is that the bot will reply to me at the back and then give me a few things. It identifies that the work that it's been doing is for the design team and it's tagged as screen design. And then finally, it's put into the backlog of the screens. Now, if I decide to, and the Trello card, if I open, will contain the link to the Figma and also to the Figma screen. Now, if I decide to maybe change the difficulty to hard, because this might be a hard work, I can just type on the comment box hard, and then the description will naturally change. Now, what's interesting about this is that if I decide to have the designers pick up the work, all I have to do is type ready for design. So what it does is it moves the entire thing into the ready for design lane. Okay, there you go. If I decide to work on it, all I have to do is to type working on it. And then it moves the card directly into the working on lane card. I can just move the Figma file here into me actually working, and then I just do the work, and then if I decide to submit it for peer review, I can just say for peer review. Okay, now it moves to the next lane, and then if someone picks it up, peer reviewing, it also moves to the next one, right? Someone is actually peer reviewing then, and if the person is done reviewing it, it can be submitted for design review. Again, everything moves to the next lane. Let's wait for it. There you go. And then when I'm actually doing the reviewing design, it moves to the next one. Then if I'm good with the stuff, all I have to do is to either say design approve, or if I'm just lazy on that day, I just type letter G and everything is done. So it moves that card to the design complete area. Let's just wait for it. There you go. It moves it. Now, there are cases that multiple designer works on one single card. So if I say I want to credit someone, I'll just type credit and then type my name as full contributor, and then maybe add somebody else there and then just press OK. Now, what it happens at the back at Trello side, you can see that everything, all the activities that you've seen earlier are all logged into place. Now, what's interesting about our operations and the way we do it is that our board here represents our entire workflow. So when you zoom out, this mimics our board. Our goal is simple: move items here from the left and all the way to the right. You know what that means? We know exactly where the work is, and we don't need to ask anyone what to do and what the status of the work. Now, this was a catalyst for us to effectively capture and move the work forward in various resolutions and granularity. And we can track them individually and also have the ability to see the work in context of the entire process. Though, seeing is not enough. We want to measure how well the work is getting done. So you see, when the work is captured effectively and tracking is frictionless, and you get to track everything in real time, a lot of things open up. You get the benefit of a real-time Kanban dashboard analytics, giving you clear view of how the work flows from your system. It provides you reliable and realistic actionable insights that you and your team can act on. You can eliminate the guessing game from your operations and use this dashboard to guide your decisions. It brings a sense of stability when things are chaotic. So let's start answering some of the questions I posted earlier. How about what's slowing us down? You see, when you ask someone about time, you usually get a rough estimate more like this: a monolithic time chunks. But what's interesting is that work that flows in any process doesn't really look like this. It looks more like this: a band of time that represents a different stage of work. And once you zoom in a bit further, you get to see something operations people really want to see and answer: where did the time go? And caveat, we don't use time tracking to measure the individual stage. This is a result of having a real time flow analytics. See, this is a real actual cycle time breakdown of two-stage process that deals with asset production. The image that you put to put on the app. Being an agency that deals with clients, obviously, approvals are necessary. And based on the image, you can deduce where the bottlenecks in the process lies. Here, we can ask the question: why did we have a longer lead time on stage 2 compared to stage 1? Or why does it take 6 hours to finish work in stage 2 while it only takes 3 hours in stage 1? Having a clear idea what happens in this stage gives us a clear insight that so that we can calibrate how we commit to our clients and set the pace of how we work should, easing the pressure and eliminating unbalanced workload. Now, if you really want to shorten up lead time, obviously you can add more resource to work or train more people to perform certain stage. How about the other side? Well, even though this is out of our control, the right response is to understand why. We can have a more reasonable conversation on when they should get back to us so that we can hit delivery schedule. This gives us a platform to better collaborate and communicate with our clients, giving us opportunity to understand them better. Most of the time, design managers only care about active work time, but here's the insight. There are two types of time that you should know: the active work time and your delivery time. In all the years I've dabbled into this, active time doesn't give you a clear picture of how work actually flows into your system. It's through mapping your delivery steps and actively tracking the movement of your work. You can measure your true delivery time. And knowing your true delivery time helps you answer, when are you gonna deliver? I know this is a hard one for some, but with the data that we've collected over time, we can run Monte Carlo simulations to give us forecast when we should commit based on the current throughput of the team. This allows us to factor in various scenarios and probabilities as part of our decision making process. Like, how many resources should we add, or how much throughput should we produce, or should we go overtime? This helps us and everyone from the team to align how we should move the work forward. We can push back if we find the probabilities are low, or pour in more people into the work better to improve the odds of our success. The fun part here? No more guesstimates. This was a major way to operate our projects, and we're out of the whole time sucking and energy depleting time estimation game in favor of data driven models to give us more reliable results. Having data driven insight is good, but how do you turn data into action? That's a different story. So, all of these things that I've shown you culminates to myriad of custom tools we've developed to help us operate our team and by extension our business. We have tools for resource management, productivity dashboard, dynamic loading of work, delivery forecasting, and team utilization. All of these gives us clear picture of our entire design operations. Because in our context, quality work is not enough, and we have to learn to quantify the value we deliver. And from our vantage point as a manager, this can elevate your decision beyond anecdotes and assumptions, instilling confidence that you can deliver as promised without compromising your team. Well, this is going to be controversial. Let's talk about Sophia. Now, being a designer at Frost, we know how she can deliver, how fast she can deliver in various dimensions. And we've designed system to measure everything she does. When you track effectivity of things, it's inevitable that you're going to open up Pandora's box. I know what you're thinking. Hold on. This is outright surveillance. Well, cool down before you act. Let me offer you a different perspective. See, having this kind of data at your disposal is not really the problem. It's the way that one uses it and the context of how it's used that determines the difference, because one can definitely use this information properly or bring good or worse cause harm. I call this approach design with a soul. You have to understand the business context that we're in and the cultural values we espouse, and that's why we put importance on human judgment. But if you feel that we only care about performance, we use this data to gather to answer fairly complicated human related questions like, have you ever wondered how we're able to deliver this much scale without burning out? Or how are we going to be prudent in our hiring practice so that we don't end up laying off people? We always challenge ourselves to answer complicated questions about human conditions because more than performance, we care about the human side of things. It gives us insight in the ability to account for Sophia and the other talents about their current capability, ensuring that we don't commit unrealistic expectation on both their schedule and workload. Because here's the thing, running people to the ground is bad for business. And all this time, I have a problem. I have a designer to manager ratio, high manager to designer ratio. So to make my life easier, I want to make sure that productivity is objectively measured. See, spending more time doesn't make you productive. It's just that you spend more time. Or delivering so much output at the expense of unsustainable practice. or worse, can rig the system in favor of quantity over quality. What I've learned is that we have to see a more balanced perspective here. One way we use our data is to identify those who need help and determine how to support them. Case in point, let's talk about output. Now, this is the throughput of one of our designer, Leah. She's a junior one and assigned to make icons for the app. Now, she's been struggling for quite some time and she needs help from her leads. So, to help her, we put her to our guided intervention and assist her in performing her work. Sorry. Her immediate lead took up to the task and developed her. As you can see, the result of the intervention took off. She received a great feedback mid-November, and the design lead also gave her an astounding above and beyond journal entry late December. And you know what happened? By the end of the year, she delivered 201 icons. But what's fascinating is that this year alone, she delivered 733 icons, design reviewed and client accepted. That's a whopping 364% compared to her last year. Now she's in the process of helping other designers and also been promoted from junior 1 to 2 early this year. At the end of the day, behind these numbers are individuals with hopes and dreams to become good designer, with parents who don't understand what they do and prefer that they should have been doctors, lawyers, accountants, or nurse. And we believe that creating an equitable workplace where people can thrive demands systems and process that espouses fairness. We went through all of these craziness because we want to protect our people against bias, favoritism, credit grabbing, and the like. Because the world is filled with workplace injustice, and we try our very best for the sake of our people not to partake in that. This is the perspective I want to offer. This is how we genuinely care for our people. Our system is not perfect. We're still improving and refining our process. My obsession with data and its relation to design is just a scratch, big itch for frost. It's an inevitable consequence of trying to do more with less, and my disdain and utter laziness to estimate efforts of our work let me build my own crystal ball filled with numbers and charts. And these things excite me. As Steve Rogers say, I can do this all day. Let me leave you with one thing. Peter Drucker quote might be fitting for this one, but today, let me take something from James Clear. 1% better every day. 1% every day derives our obsession towards being data-driven. Now, if you feel that 1% is hard, at least strive to be better. As an organization that delivers data-driven is a means to an end. I hope this gives you a clear and solid case that being a design-driven organization can deliver clear impact. That for people and client, it can also be a competitive advantage. A bit my approach, as showed you, is a bit tactical. I hope it sparked inspiration that you can use and bring back to your organization. All of this, despite the immensity and challenge ahead of us, we want to take it because this is a mission worthy of our cost. I hope that you get something out of this talk. Thank you very much. And from the Philippines, maraming salamat po. Thank you.
Thank you,
Oh my.
GP. That was, I had high expectations and you managed to exceed them.
Oh
And
my.
I can
Sorry for technical
I can
difficulty.
tell.
I'm really, really sorry. Oh,
No, that's only eating up the questions. And I can tell you, if you check, there are a lot of questions with a lot of upvotes. And we have 3 minutes. So I think that probably Rachel's question that is asking if we can get a recorded demo, she would like to see which bot you were using to connect Trello and Figma because it's something she's also looking at. And
okay.
like you already know, people are asking, is this available? Can that be replicated? But share because that's awesome. So do you have any data recorded demo of that?
Yeah,
we
I
can
do.
look
In
at?
my LinkedIn, yeah, in my LinkedIn, you can check there. It contains this actual demo. Now, this is not a plugin. The thing about plugin, it creates friction when you do tracking. So this is embedded directly into Figma's entire API. That's why I don't need to run any plugin to support all of this. So it runs natively from Figma there.
Yes, no, and I see Rachel saying she pinged everyone in her team. I did the same, Rachel. I mean, yes.
Again, I hope I
Uh,
did justice to the demo. I hope. So there you go.
no, absolutely. I think that was absolutely fantastic. So, just very quickly, Jill is asking if this works for videos as well.
It doesn't really matter what materials would it be. Our the entire workflow can work. It can span in various workflows, various pipelines, and even materials. The only thing that you need to put there is just a comment, and everything else handles for itself. The AI is the one that's actually doing the categorization. That removes the cognitive load from us designer to identify what bucket, what tags, and whatever it is to add extra work for us. That's an AI work already. So there.
Fantastic. That's absolutely brilliant, JP. Thank you, thank you, thank you for
Thank
staying
you.
up late and inspiring us all with this.